Well, good morning, guys. At least it's good morning for me. It's later part of April 2021. I think it's the 23rd of April. It's Friday. And I'm going to close the visor here, get the wind out of my eyes. I'm here with Gotway EXN, courtesy of Rose at EUCO. Thanks again, Rose. I greatly appreciate you allowing me to ride these great wheels for extended periods of time so I can really get some good testing on them. And today is my full range test, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to split into 2 days. All these large battery wheels, it's just more convenient to split into 2 days. As many of you know, this has 2,700 watt hours of battery. So quite a large battery. And I don't know, it'll be very interesting to see what I get. Now I'm going to be comparing this wheel primarily to the Veteran, the Sherman. And so in subsequent videos, I'm going to put out at least one video where I'll directly compare this to the Sherman. So I think it's the best wheel to compare it to if you're thinking about between those two wheels. Now, when I did the Sherman range test, it was July of last year, and it was in the 90s during the day, so I did the test of 2 parts, but I started the first part 5 in the afternoon. So at that point, I think it was down to the low to mid 80s at that point. Now today, the temperature is in the low to mid 60s. Feels pretty mild, but it's definitely cooler. Obviously, about 20 degrees cooler. I'm not sure how much that temperature difference really affects the batteries because it's not like it's exactly cold. It's just not hot. So I don't know, but it's a factor. And the other difference is my riding weight was 176 pounds when I did the Sherman, and today when I weighed myself, all this gear and everything, my riding weight is 183 pounds. So about 7 pounds heavier. So that'll be the other factor. Other than that, I'm going to be doing the same route that I do all my range tests. Same conditions. It's very mild wind. And the speed is, like right now I'm going 21, 22 miles per hour. That's when I'm going to stick to, between 20 and 22 miles an hour, just as I did with the Sherman. And shall be interesting, particularly the second half of this test. Now, I've done this so many times. Again, I'm not going to, hopefully won't make this a long video. After I stop talking now, I will the next segment, unless something unusual happens, the next segment will be at the midway point when I'm at the river. And we'll see what the voltage is on the wheel compared to the Sherman. But in general, I'm really liking this EXN. I love the ground clearance compared to the Sherman. I love the tire. It's a huge tire. I mean, it's actually a tire that's rated at 20 inches on the sidewall. Not like in the MSP, which is, quote, a 19-inch wheel, right? But it has an 18x3 tire. This has a 2.75 by 20-inch tire. Though when you measure the width, it actually comes out to about 3 inches when it's inflated. So it's just a big, beefy tire. This whole wheel is beefy, but it rides beautiful, has great acceleration. To me, amazing torque. It has an elevator effect when going up steep hills where it feels like you give it a little input and it just pulls you up, rather than you having to push it up like in the Sherman, for instance. There's been no bearing issues on this wheel so far. I forgot to check the miles, but it's probably in the 400 miles on this wheel so far, but it's been running great. I had that little accident in my mountain test, and I'll post a video up here, I think, a link to that, where I opened up the wheel and I had to fix the fan. So there's the usual quality issues with Gotway wheel, but I'm not going to be focusing on that. I'm focusing on the performance and the ride quality of the wheel. But I'm really liking it, and I hope I think I'm going to get a chance to do other stuff with the EXN too. But not the EXN, the EX with the suspension. And of course it's got the bigger motor. So it'd be really interesting to compare this range test with the range test in the EX to see how they compare. But that'll be for another day. Okay, well, I'm going to enjoy this ride, and 22 miles an hour. And by the way, this wheel seems to be the speed reported from the wheel is very close to GPS. Most wheels are not. Most wheels are 5 to 10% off. But this wheel seems to be within 1% or so of GPS. So that's nice. Okay, I will talk to you when I get to the river, midway point, see how we're doing. Wow, great ride. Let's see how I'm doing on the mileage here. So I had to skip one section on the way up here, so I'm only at about 27.5 miles. Now on the Sherman, at this point I was at 30 miles. So a couple miles short. And I'm at 92.8 volts. And let's see. And on the Sherman, I was at 92.9 volts. A couple miles shorter too, so pretty close all in all. And I think generally I've been going faster because, I've been going 21, 22 miles per hour per the app. And the app is very close to GPS time. And the Sherman is more typical, 5 to 10% off. So I think I was ultimately going a little bit slower in the Sherman. But anyway, really pretty close. Close enough to say it's even. So the ultimate range on this wheel is going to really be determined by the voltage. What's the cutoff voltage? On the Sherman, it's 76.5 volts, if I remember, something like that. I don't know if this is 78 volt wheel or it's an 80 volt wheel. I shall find out though. Gorgeous river flowing again. Really enjoying the view. We'll take a little break and then head on back. I think I'll take a little detour to add a couple miles out of the road onto the trip, so that when I get back, I'm closer to what I was doing on the Sherman, which is I was at 57 miles when I stopped on the Sherman on the midway point. So I'll aim for that. Loving this wheel though. I really love, that's a tough choice. If this were the 3200 watt hour wheel for the range, like the Sherman, it'd be a tough choice. The build quality and everything on the Sherman is better. There's no doubt that the Sherman seems more robust, but this rides very stable like the Sherman. It has better torque. I think it has better acceleration, and it's more nimble. It's a nicer wheel just for carving and making quick, agile turns. It definitely beats the Sherman. So it's definitely solid competition for the Sherman. It's as I've been saying lately, there's too many nice wheels. All right, guys, let's see when I get back closer to home for the end of today's ride. Quite as good as the Sherman, or the Monster for that matter. Let's see. about an hour or so. 4 hours and 20 minutes I've been out since I started more or less of that section riding. So, the Sherman, I was at 30 miles, and right now, 57 miles. It's right now at about 55.5. So a little less. I was at 87.4 volts and 86 volts. It's quite a bit different. If I remember the Monster, I can't remember the actual voltage, but I think it was higher than the Sherman, if I remember. Very close. And that's got the 3,500 watt motor. It's really interesting. This has a 2,800 watt motor. Yet it's definitely really underperforming. What's happening with that? This is definitely not going to be a super long distance wheel. We'll see. So I'm going to take it easy the rest of the day because the winds are supposed to be picking up. To do this in the morning. So I don't think tomorrow's going to be a long day based on the current voltage. So the next video segment will be the next day. See you in a second. It is the next day, although it's really not the next day. It's a few days have passed. I had to wait for weather conditions to improve, basically the winds to subside. So it's the morning, it's about 9 o'clock, same temperature, I guess low 60s right now. Feels mild though. And yeah, mild winds. So I am at 86.5 volts resting. Now I don't know what voltage this wheel goes down to. Is it 80 volts or 78 volts? I'm going to gamble that it's 78 volts. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to ride one way along the river here until I get down to about 82 volts. Basically half of what I think I have in the tank. And then I'll turn around and come on home, see what we get. So at this point, I'm going to diverge from the Sherman in terms of comparisons because obviously this can't compete with the Sherman for battery capacity. But it'll be interesting to see how it's going to perform at the low end. Am I going to get the battery warnings at 15% battery or 10% battery? So I always find it interesting what the characteristics are of different wheels are at the low end. Okay, so I will check in at the halfway point when I turn around and see where I'm at that point. Okay, I think I am at the midway point, guesstimating here. I'm at 82 volts, resting. And I'm at 86.3 miles. Let me double check that. hard to read this. Yeah, 68.4 miles. So it seems like it's going to be, well, unless I run out of power before I think I'm going to assume I'm going down to 78 volts. So looks like 80 mile wheel, hopefully, which is not too bad. I can live with that, the speeds I ride. I'm going to do a more aggressive range test too, like I've done before on some other wheels. Just ride it fast and see how I do. All right, I will see you next when I'm getting some low battery indications. Hopefully it'll be in the 80 mile mark, in that range. Well, that didn't take long. We're about 70.5 miles, and I'm getting beeps at about you can hear it, about 18 to 19 miles per hour. Oh well. And see, the voltage is 79.5 volts right now, under load. 79 volts. That's where it's beeping. So I might not make it home. It seemed to have a rapid drop off from 82 volts to 79 volts. Yep, not good. $16 miles an hour now. Okay, well, this is not going to be an 80 mile wheel at my typical speeds. Looks like it's going to be low 70s. Solid 20 miles less than the Sherman. But it has a smaller battery pack, of course. And then Gotway is more conservative. They don't let you run down to the lower voltages, except for the Monster Pro. I bet they could have let this go down to 76 volts like the Sherman, though. It would probably be safe enough. Yeah, so I'm being limited to 17 miles an hour now. Okay, I'll get back to you when it gets worse. Well, I did make it home. Quite a bit short. So I had to call the wife. She's going to be picking me up. And so you can hear it's beeping. Just sitting there beeping, and I'm at 78.9 miles. But I can actually run it, because that's no load, right? So just start riding, it drops down, 78.6, starts beeping more. basically it's starting to tilt back at 78 volts. So it's a 78 volt wheel. And just gonna make it to the meetup spot. And I'm at 74 miles. So, if you really got to squeak out the distance, it's a 74-mile wheel for me. But realistically, 70 miles. That's before I started getting any kind of, before I had to slow down from my 22 mile per hour speed. So let's see, where am I going here? $70 miles. So, yeah, if I remember, about 15 miles. They're about shorter than the Sherman. Still not bad. I can live with it for what I want to use this wheel for. Won't be a super long wheel, distance wheel, but you can really get some distance out of this and have a lot of fun with it, though. Look forward to the higher speed tests that I'll do. Let's see, it looks like I'll probably get about, when I'm going to stop, it's like 75 miles, so I'm going to say 75 miles. The last 4 to 5 miles of that is embarrassingly slow. I hate the beeper when you're around pedestrians, right? Of course, in a way, they don't know what it means. Okay, that wraps this test up. 78 volt wheel, 70 fun miles for me at my speeds, 22 miles an hour, and 75 miles you can squeak it out. And of course, if you guys are heavier, your mileage is going to be less, and if you're lighter, you know, you can go quite a bit farther in this wheel, no doubt. Hope this was useful, and I will see you guys later.